Hey y'all, so this is officially my first ever custom pattern that will be exclusive to Patreon as a preview. That meaning you all have the privilege of, as subscribers, to have access to the patterns ahead of general sales. So I wanted to kind of walk you through what your poll pattern winning design was and how I've created it, and what I'll be cutting and sewing my fit sample in. So naturally my dress form is a size 6. So what I did for the princess seam dress pattern is, you can see here that I've started to true them onto paper before I send them to the pattern maker. So this process is a little complex. What I had to do is drape all the panels. So because it's princess seam, I wanted it to be more versatile for more sizes. So it technically is going to have one extra panel, which is going to allow for all of you to make any fit adjustments. So I'm going to lay these out the way that I trued them. The only reason they're kind of like out of order is because I wanted to be just conscientious of how much pattern paper I was using in the event that I need to retrue them. So you can see here I've got what will be center front. Panel number 1. I'm giving you the option with the pattern to either cut on the fold, so that means you would just turn back that center front seam allowance, cut it on the fold, or you can keep the extension. You can put in a placket, you can put in a center front zipper, you can always add buttons. And for center front and center back, I'm giving you 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Then we go into panel number 2. So it's technically still a princess seam dress, but again, I'm giving you one extra panel so that it gives you a little bit more versatility with any fit adjustments. Next is panel 3. So you'll have a princess seam that comes down the natural princess seam of the garment, and then it gave you a second princess seam here inside front, and then that would be your side seam. So at side seams as well, there's 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Everywhere else there is 3/8. Then we have panel, so that's panel 2, 3, 4, which would be side back, which will have princess seam and joins to center back. And then center back, you have the option again to either use the center back as your zipper closure, or you can turn the seam allowance back and then just cut the back on fold. Yeah, so for my pattern maker, because I'm working with someone overseas who's going to digitize these patterns, they work in metric measurements, where we work in standard in the US. So I had to be sure to give him some references. This is a 10 by 10 centimeter square, and there's a 2 by 2 centimeter square here as well. So although this pattern paper is marked as square inches, I just have to give him some sort of reference that is in metric. So let's move on to skirt. And what I did here is you kind of have like an umpire waist seam, and again, just more versatility with fit adjustments. And another really cool thing is that you could use the bodice pattern and literally just attach like a gathered piece of fabric and give yourself like an umpire kind of baby doll style dress, and then just put the zipper up center back. So it will be sleeveless. That was the poll winner for this first pattern. It's going to run from sizes 0 to 20, if not 22. If anyone needs any more sizes, I'm going to be sure to share the size chart with you in this post, and let me know if there's any more sizes you'd like me to include. Otherwise, you can grade between sizes, and I'm happy to show you a demo of how to do that. So let's move on to the skirt. Another thing, let's think like, you know, environment and conscientiousness of just like, you know, the waist and all the rest. So the skirt patterns are actually, it looks like it's mini. So technically, the only reason I'm keeping the skirt panel short is so that you can literally, from the hem edge, just grab a ruler tape measure and you can mark. So I'll show you how to do that right now. It's so that when you're printing these at home, it's less paper, less waste. So from the literal bottom edge, because I've only given you 3/8 of an inch hem allowance here, this is in case you want to cut and sew this as a blouse or like a top. which is super cute. You could just do like a slit at either side seam so that you have a little bit more movement in the garment. But let's say you wanted to add another 10 inches or so. From the bottom edge of each of these skirt panels, you would literally just extend 10 inches. Where you've got a seam that goes on an angle, all you have to do is pivot your ruler, pull that to 10 inches, and square across your hem edge. So yeah, I just want to be, you know, because I think one of my biggest pet peeves with printing patterns is that there's so much waste. So this is going to enable us to just have less of that. I'm also going to try and work with the pattern maker to enable the PDF formatting to be layered so that you can just view and print only the size that you need. So fingers crossed this pattern maker is able to do that so that you don't have to fuss with like tracing or, you know, kind of like working around what patterns you need. Although when you view only one layer at a time, you're probably thinking, oh crap, how can I blend between sizes? You can view 2, 3, 4 sizes at once in Adobe Reader. So same idea as the bodice. You've got a center front skirt panel. You've got side front 1, side front 2, side back, and center back. So the seam allowance is 3/8 unless otherwise indicated, as at the top is 3/8, bottom is 3/8, and then side seams, center front and center back are 5/8. So I'm excited. I know that was a really long, one of those like Helen just take a breath moments, but I'm excited about this. I put other projects on the back burner, but let's not tell my clients that, only because I'm really excited about this. So I'm going to cut and sew 2 sets of the bodice, 1 set of the skirts. I am using this polyester crepe that's in a pinstripe. So it's pretty flowy. It is a true woven, but because it's a crepe, it's got a little bit of wiggle to it. You know, kind of drape nicer hand. And then for the lining set of the bodice, I'm just going to use like a cotton voile in like probably a black or something. But when I cut and sew that, I will be sure to write up sewing instructions, which are a Patreon privilege. So I love you guys so much. Thank you for supporting my community. I'm glad that you're all here. And you know what we're gonna do? We are gonna make really cool design projects together in a much easier way, because I know it's really difficult to find time for ourselves, but we've got to, because mental health and, you know, self-love is really important, and I want to give this gift to you. So we'll talk soon. Looking forward to creating with y'all, and thanks so much for being part of this, because if it weren't for y'all, I wouldn't be doing this. So hugs and kisses, and I'll see you guys around.